Are you being the fake one? Today we're going to look a little bit deeper into that, and I'm also going to show you how to align with your authenticity. I help people connect to a positive self-identity for growth and expansion in all areas of your life. All right, let's get started. So, are you being the fake one? I was watching a video the other day, and it really kind of turned the focus back on, looking at myself to see, am I living through my authenticity, or am I living through fake parts of myself? And when I kind of really looked at this, I was looking at, okay, what does all of this mean? So when I looked a little bit more into this, this is what I came up with. Do you say things to people, please, to say things that people want to hear? These aren't like you're just walking into situations and I'm a total fake person, but what parts of us are we kind of shrinking into or giving ourselves away to other people because we're afraid to really show who we really are, our authentic selves? Do you make friends with people and say things and have conversations hiding parts of who you are, meaning things that you want to say, your ideas, your perspectives? Do you scan the room looking to see what are other people saying so I can be in agreement with it, because what I'm thinking is it like way out of line with what the group is thinking, and we're afraid to kind of put our idea or our thoughts out there? We look around to see what is the majority doing, so we can adjust ourselves to the majority instead of standing in our own identity and saying what we feel and think. That, there's nothing wrong with that, but there may be a little bit of fear of voicing your opinion. You agree with things that you don't want to agree with just to go along with what everybody else is saying. You just go into agreement because, again, there's a little bit of fear of saying something different from what everybody else is saying. You have a fear of rejection. So because of this fear of rejection, you're willing to compromise yourself in situations and go along with what other people say, or go along and do things that other people want to do. All of these little adjustments that we do against who we are is being fake to ourselves. And not only being fake to ourselves, but being fake to the people that we're engaging with. So we're developing relationships through fake parts of ourselves instead of authentic parts of ourselves. When we hold ourselves back, we're keeping people kind of at bay and not allowing them or letting them get closer to us and really see who we are, see us, and know us for who we are. Do you deny your own feelings in fear of looking weak? Like, I know that this is something that I used to do. I used to act like, oh, I'm strong all the time. I'm so strong I can handle anything. And if somebody else showed, they were hurt or upset about something, I would be there to listen to them, validate them, comfort them, but I wouldn't show any of my feelings because I felt like, well, if I showed that something hurt me or that something was bothering me, I would look like I couldn't handle it, I'm not tough enough, or I would be weak. And that kind of stems from my dad. Like, I couldn't show any feelings of vulnerability around him because he saw that as weak. So I put on this persona like I'm strong all the time, when inside I'm a sensitive person and very vulnerable, but I was afraid to show that or express that to people for fear of getting judgment from them. Are you afraid to show, and that goes into vulnerability. Are you afraid to show your vulnerabilities? Are you afraid to really, and our vulnerabilities are showing parts of ourselves that we don't feel fully confident in. And then we wait for a response from other people on when we show our vulnerabilities. And it can be a little bit scary because somebody can judge us or reject us, but being really real is showing who we are. And most of the time, people are going to be totally fine with that. They're not going to reject you. They're not going to go against you. And if they do go, reject you because you show your vulnerability, that's really not about you. That's really about something that they're not able to process, or they're not able to be in that space with you if you do show your vulnerability. And that's okay. You kind of move around them, but you continue to show a vulnerability within yourself so you can attract other people who show vulnerability, other people who are authentic, and you open up to and they open up to you. Do you ever feel like you have to be, when I said a little bit earlier, do you feel like you have to be strong all the time? You have to be the strong one. You can never show your feelings or emotions. You say things that you don't mean. You know, you may say things like, you may compliment somebody just to, you may want to look good in front of your, you know, not only to yourself, but you may be in front of other people, and you compliment people, but it's not a true, honest, integral compliment. You really don't feel that. You're just saying it to make people feel good, but are you genuine in wanting to make that person feel good and with what you are saying? You live through who you were told to be. You would live through who you were told to be instead of being who you want to be. You're living through who you think your parents want you to be, or your friends want you to be, or the society wants you to be. You know, a lot of times everybody is telling us who to be by, you know, through judgments and criticisms. We learn, well, don't do that. I must do this other, I must be this other person in order to be accepted. So we reject our true selves because our true selves weren't accepted. And we do these fake parts of ourselves to gain either attention or validation or acceptance. And it's not like we're going out going, I'm going to be a totally fake person. We do it to save ourselves from some type of pain that we don't want to feel, which is judgment or rejection. Because if you got that a lot growing up, it's very painful to feel that. And we will do things that aren't who we are in order to avoid that pain. Fakeness never comes from the true part of yourself. When you're really being truthful with who you aren't being fake. You know that that's who you are. But fakeness is coming from a part of us that isn't the truth of who we are. So why do we fall into these fake parts of ourselves? I said a little bit earlier, but if we got criticized for being who we are going to look at society and we're going to look at how everybody else is acting that gets accepted or does not receive judgment, and we may copy that type of behavior. Or we're comparing ourselves. Okay, what are they doing to not get rejected, or they get positive feedback from either a friend or a group of people or somebody or people at work? Like, what is everybody else doing that I need to do in order to not be rejected? Our culture tells us what to be and what's acceptable and not acceptable. So we fall in line with that as well. There's always something telling us who to be or who not to be, either through commercials, through different things, products that to buy online or at the store, or when you're watching TV. They're all telling us who we should be. You need this cream and it'll make you look younger. You need to drink this drink because it'll give you energy, or whatever it is. There's always these things outside of ourselves that will make us be something else. Insecurity will cause us to be fake parts of ourselves. If we're not secure in being the person that we want to be, and we're being what we think everybody else wants us to be, that insecurity will cause us to be fake and be people pleasers. We'll just go along. We could fall into chameleon mode all the time, and we will, say we're with this group of people and we'll act this certain way that this group acts, and then we're with this group of people and then we may adjust ourselves to act according to this group of people. Now, I'm not talking about you go into different situations and you may flow in these situations and talking about different subjects, but I'm talking about when you really change your personality and agree with things that aren't who you are, and you're saying things to people that aren't really true or authentic, like you don't really mean it. Vulnerability, the reason why we could be fake sometimes is looked at as being weak. Like if we showed feelings of fear or even too much excitement, there could be vulnerability around positive things. I know that happened to me when I was younger. I couldn't show too much excitement because my dad did not like that. He really frowned upon that. So I learned to just keep everything really on the down low, really low key. Don't show too much excitement, because he may give me a look of disappointment. And so there could be insecure or vulnerability in showing any of your fears or sadness, and showing those type of vulnerabilities may not have been accepted as well. So then we don't show those parts of ourselves. We keep it locked in and hidden. Unfortunately, when we hide those parts of ourselves, it doesn't allow somebody to get close to us or see those parts of ourselves and share maybe some of their experiences that they have gone through with some of their vulnerabilities, that it's actually okay, like it's fine and it's acceptable. And the certain situations do cause for certain vulnerabilities to be shown. And it doesn't have to be a situation for you to show your vulnerability. You can be vulnerability no matter what the situation or no matter where you are or what's happening, because you're being true to yourself and your own feelings. When those feelings of vulnerability come up, whether it be happiness or sadness, show it. Be with that feeling and embrace it. You don't want to deny it or reject it. When we aren't connected to ourselves, like appreciating ourselves, accepting ourselves, when we don't have internal connection, when a lot of our internal connection comes from external, such as somebody validating us, somebody recognizing us, giving us attention, when we aren't solid with who we are within ourselves, no matter what happens outside of ourselves, we can tend to be fake, because we gain ourselves outside of ourselves and not from within, our own self-connection. And we have to really know who we are, what we stand for, what we like and don't like, in order to have that self-connection. Past traumas can really cause us to have certain fake parts of our personality. We could be something could have happened to us that was very traumatic, and it could be like a lot of verbal abuse. It could be that you took it could be something like you tried to ride a bike and you fell really hard and hurt yourself, and then you didn't want to, ride a bike anymore. So there could be parts of our personalities that we showed and we got shunned or rejected or corrected or, talked to in a condescending way when we showed a certain part of our personality, so we'll hide it. So there's certain traumas that can also cause us to hide parts of who we are because they just weren't accepted or criticized or whatever that behavior may have been that got rejected. So I talked also a little bit about really having that strong connection. If we don't have that strong connection with who we are and identifying with ourselves on our terms, like our own identity, that can cause us to really not know who we are and look outside of ourselves to find out who do I need to be and what do I need to say or how do I need to act in order to be accepted. So how do we align with our true authentic selves, with our true identity? Your words and actions and behaviors want to match. They all want to match. So if you say something to somebody, you want it to be really truthful in the way that you feel. And so if you give somebody a compliment, it's truly because you like what they're wearing, or you like what they said, or you liked how they did something. You honestly, truly liked that part of that part of themselves that they showed, that you're really complimenting them on. It's not just coming from, oh, I want to look good and I'm going to compliment this person, or to gain attention. It's really coming from an authentic place within your heart that you're giving somebody a compliment. When you feel bad or shame and you're going against the person that you know to be your own value system, that's something you want to really look at. When you kind of step outside of yourself and you're being a people pleaser or something like that, pull back. It's okay. It may happen. You'll be a people pleaser, but pull back and you kind of question it and go, why did I do that? Why did I just go along with something that I didn't want to go along with? Why did I just say something that wasn't truthful? There was something where I did that. Sometimes that pops out in me where I don't want to get rejected, and I start going and saying things. I would say something that's going along with somebody else's thought process, And I'm like, and I catch myself and I'm like, why am I doing this? I don't agree with that. It doesn't have to be a strong disagreement. It doesn't have to be, that you're against the person and what they're saying. You're just kind of standing, I have to realize I have to stand in my own identity and just, of course I'm listening to the person, but not be in agreement with them just because I feel I want to be accepted by agreeing with them. And I have to be accepted for myself and what my thoughts are separate from their thoughts, and not get acceptance through agreeing with them, but gain acceptance through being truthful to myself and saying a comment that may be opposite of what they're saying. And it's more presented like, oh, I have a different perspective on this, and voice that. And that's totally fine. Like, that's what I have to tell myself. That's totally fine. I can voice a different perspective. I don't have to agree with this person. In order to be authentic, you have to know your values. You have to know who you are. You have to really step back and really see, who do I want to be? What values do I want to hold? How do I want to behave? How do I want to respond? Do I want to overreact in situations, or do I want to be really calm when a situation happens and really be a little more calm in walking through the situation? With me, sometimes I would overreact into a situation instead of just really remaining calm. So I really have to have a vision in my mind about who do I want to be when stressful situations come up. For me, I just kind of want to stay silent, kind of assess the situation, see what's going on, and not overreact, because sometimes I would overreact to a situation that I didn't know all of the information about it, and I overreacted over something that really didn't call for that. Once I got the full picture and totally understand the whole picture, it really was a more calming situation than a situation to overreact in. You want to speak your ideas and your opinions. Stand in your own identity. Don't look for your identity in other people and like what they do and what they're saying and copying and comparing what they're doing. You want to stand in your own identity and really voice your opinion and your thoughts and what you think about things. When people are going to say things, you don't want to take things personal. So when you're really being authentic, you're not going to take things personal, because if somebody says something to you that may be rude or discounting, you're just going to look at it and say, that's really not who I am. And that is really a reflection of who they are, but it has really nothing to do with me. Now, if it does hold a little bit of truth about it, you just kind of take it into account and you go, I'll take that into account. I'll think about that a little bit later and process it, but there's nothing to overreact about, because we're always growing and growing into a new version of ourselves, meaning we learn things that we used to do that we don't want to do anymore, and then we grow into being more calm, or more integrity, or just whatever it is that you want to grow into, be more patient. We're always growing into a different facet of ourselves. So we just want to, be patient with that and just really stand in that perspective of, I can always grow from something. And that's if somebody says something that holds any truth to it. If it doesn't hold any truth, you let it go and you move on with your happy self. You don't take that to heart and let that be cause you to doubt yourself in any way. When negative emotions come up, you want to look at them and look at them separate from you. Like, you kind of look at it from third person, like, okay, I have an emotion that's coming up and I'm feeling like really upset, or I'm feeling really angry right now. Okay, the angry emotion is triggering something within you, but it's not who you are. Even if you've gotten upset a lot of times, it's just an emotion that you've learned that helps define how you're feeling. And you can define your feelings in different ways. So if anger comes up, you kind of look at it and go, okay, what is this anger trying to tell me? What is it trying to tell me about me? Am I discounting myself in a certain way? Am I not standing in my authenticity? Am I discounting my own self? Am I not giving myself the love that I need right now? Am I looking for validation outside of myself? I didn't get it, so now I'm upset. And those are things that we want to look at, and just look at that emotion and see, kind of look at it, ask it questions. What is this emotion trying to tell me? That I am abandoning myself in some certain way, or I'm not being authentic with myself in some certain way, or I'm wanting something from somebody else that I need to give to myself. So emotions are really interesting because they really can get to the root of what we need to give to ourselves when we're abandoning ourselves and when we're not being authentic with ourselves. And when we stand in our own authenticity, sometimes we stand alone. Sometimes we will lose people through the process of us standing more and more in our authenticity, because some of the people that we were hanging out with, we attracted them through our inauthentic selves, and they have inauthentic selves within them that we attracted them through. So now that we're living in our authentic selves, the more and more that we step into that, these other people that we were hanging out with don't match up with our authentic selves anymore, with our fake selves. It's really interesting how that kind of plays out, how we may lose somebody we've been friends with for many, 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 many years. But if you kind of look at the relationship sometimes, you may realize that you were connecting through inauthentic parts of yourself, and you guys were connecting through inauthenticity and not realness, not truthfulness in who you are being. So why is it so hard to be authentic sometimes? I want to step back a little bit because I want to mention fake people like other fake people because you can hide in each other's fakeness, because you're not really seeing each other. You know, so when an authentic person steps in a room or is talking with a fake person will not like that. They will not like the authentic person because they can't hide, because a fake person is real and they're being real with themselves, they're being authentic with themselves, they're showing up with the truthfulness of who they are. They're not hiding behind anything, meaning they're not hiding their vulnerabilities, they're not hiding behind expressing who they are and what they think and what they say. And fake people are used to hiding behind all of their fake parts of themselves, and so they like other fake people who hide. They don't really see each other, so they can hide behind those things. But an authentic person, there's no hiding, and a fake person can feel when an authentic person, they can see right through them. And that, there's times when I know that when I was feeling insecure and there was fake parts of myself that I was living out, and somebody was really confident, really sure of themselves, when I was because part of my fakeness was a part of insecurity, because I didn't feel comfortable in being totally who, I am. And I felt really uncomfortable sometimes around some authentic people. And that when I look back on these situations, I look and I go, I would think that it was them and not me, when in actuality it was really me, because I wasn't really being authentic with myself. So I couldn't really hold space or be in this space or talk with this other, truly authentic person. Now, I'm not saying that I was totally fake all around, but there were parts of me when I, felt afraid to really show my true self, and I would feel uncomfortable. So I would really feel uncomfortable if somebody felt really confident in showing their vulnerabilities, because I didn't feel comfortable in showing my vulnerabilities. So it's really about making small adjustments into stepping into alignment with ourselves. And in the beginning, sometimes our not being in alignment is a lot stronger than totally being in alignment with who we are. And as we make small adjustments, those small adjustments reach out into a huge alignment within our authenticity. So think about it and just just start catching yourself in little ways. Like sometimes I'll say something and I'll be like, I didn't really want to say that. And then I'll catch myself. So you just kind of catch yourself. Doesn't mean that all of a sudden, since you're aware of this, all of a sudden it's going to stop. You may still do it, but then now you're coming into self-awareness and realizing I'm going to adjust that the next time I get into a conversation. So you start adjusting yourself a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. And then eventually your authentic self is the dominant part of yourself. And that's who you live through. And it's really exciting. It gives you so much freedom to really go into situations feeling fully, just fully accepting who you are and not really worrying about what other people say. And you're not worried to adjusting yourself to situations. You really feel comfortable in who you are and not perceiving yourself through other people, but perceiving yourself through your own identity of how you want to identify with yourself. So with all that said, I'm really glad that you're here with me today, and make any comments if you'd like me to do on any videos, on anything that you're thinking about. And until then, until next time, I'll see you on the next video. Thanks a lot. Bye.